We went back to Vince Cable, the Liberal Democrat's phrase, where he rather cruelly said that Mr. Brown had, in a short space of time, gone from Stalin to Mr. Bean. So here he was, when he became Prime Minister, commander of all of aid, and in control. And, by the way, in the polls on 44%, a distant memory must seem like to some Labour MPs now, because gradually things started going wrong. The snap election was called off, and here's Mr. Brown looking not quite like he's in command of all his surveillance. I think he's being brought food by young children. He's lying down a bit fatigued there. And gradually then we've seen the Bean characteristics creeping in, the lost data disks and Northern Rock and all the problems, and what were the polls saying? He's coming down again, 35%. And this next portrait, doing a bit of competition to Rowan Atkinson here, that was painted when he was thinking that the 10p tax change was a good idea. Polls coming down again, 32%. So we're seeing a progression here. Where does it end up with Mr. Bean? Is that where the night will end up? Well, I'll try and give you a bit of context again. That's always a great way to progress these things. 1997, when Mr. Blair was leader of the opposition, he became Prime Minister with 44% of the vote. That was the Blair landslide election victory. And we've said before, haven't we, that Labour tend to do better in generals than they do in locals. So even as early as 97, going through this progression, you start to see this up-down effect. Down for the local elections in 2000, up again to win the 2001 election, 42%, and then this critical figure we've come back to again and again tonight, 26%, the lowest in living memory for Labour, and that was the 2004 local elections. Doubly significant tonight because that's the year against which the councils we're seeing tonight were last fought. So 2004, 26%, but they came back, and this is one crumb of comfort for Labour, that even that record low was followed by an election victory in 2005, 36%, and then 27% in 2007. This was Tony Blair just nudging up from that lowest ever figure. So this time last year we were talking about local elections and we were wondering, would he go below 26%? Tony Blair's last local elections. Did he? No, he didn't. And his allies said, well, we've come off the bottom. So that's the story of the last 11 years. Why don't we just focus on this figure here, this 26%, and make it really simple. But if Mr. Brown goes below 26%, then he's not Brown anymore. How about that? If he goes below 26%, he's not Brown, because he's been, or has been.